Hi, and welcome to the Wednesday Wrap Up. I'm Jessica Potts, a business strategist. I work with female business owners and helping them increase their revenue by developing a customer and product strategy paired with a marketing plan to start attracting your ideal customers and closing more business. Now, if you're a big dreamer like me, you launched your business to be larger than it pays the bills, and I get to travel once a year. You're on a mission to create a legacy, a business your children or even generations after you can reap the benefits from. But to get there, you're going to have to hire great employees to help you grow. But where do you start? What do you implement? What elements should you put into a clear, concise job description? The questions are endless. At least they were for me. So today I brought on Jame Geathers to the show, and she's going to be sharing with us what needs to be included in your policies and employee handbook. She's breaking down what to include in your job descriptions to ensure that you're attracting the right employees and what types of questions you should be asking in interviews to ensure you're hiring the right person for the job. So no more questions about what's your 5-year plan. Tune in now to learn how to create lasting policies to protect you, your business, and your employees. Welcome back to the Wednesday Wrap Up. Now, before we get going, I do release a weekly video every Wednesday to help you grow your business in 3 areas: aligning your products and services to your market, authentic marketing, and developing a business mindset to ensure that you scale and are successful. If these are areas that will benefit your business, please subscribe to my channel. All right, without further ado, I welcome Jame Geathers to the show. She is an entrepreneur, author, TEDx speaker, mom, and human resources professional with over 15 years experience in both the corporate and nonprofit sector. Jame has spent her career building and supporting HR infrastructures that have provided her employers and clients with the structure and policies that all startups need, but owners may not have time or resources to create and implement. Jame is passionate about empowering women to realize their full potential, both personally and professionally. Hi, and welcome back to the Wednesday Wrap Up. I am super excited to have Jame Geathers here today, and she has 15 years of human resource experience, and she came on the show to talk about the foundation that you should be setting up before hiring so that you don't have a hot mess once you have employees in your business. So thank you so much, Jame, for coming and being here and chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little about how you went from corporate America and launched your business.
Well, I started off like most people do with a corporate position working for a steel manufacturer of all things. And I was working there, I was moving up, I was having a great time, I was making a great salary. I moved to a different company doing the exact same thing. And then one day I woke up and I was just like, I'm not contributing anything. I'm not doing anything for the world around me. So I started working for a nonprofit, thinking that was what I needed. And that's where I found HR. I found my love for working with people and policies and, oddly enough, handbooks. And that's how I got started. I continued working, went back to school, changed my major, just did everything in reverse, and took the leap into corporate HR. And then after doing that for several years, I grew tired of the negative parts of HR. seeing people being taken advantage of or policies being used against people. And I decided to step out on faith and launch my own.
I love it. So how long have you had your company now?
I started my company in 2014.
And I know that you and I have talked about this, and you took that leap and knew that this was your purpose and that you were really driven and you had a really strong vision for your brand. And how did you start obtaining clients when you launched?
It was really interesting because my first client was someone I worked with at my last position. She was actually a client of that company, and she was having HR challenges. And she said, "Well, you're great. I've seen you work with the team. Can you come in and help me?" It's like, "Sure." And I started working with her. I thought it was going to be a small project. It actually ended up being a 6-month project. And from that, I gained my next 2 clients just from referrals. So it's, a lot of people say business is about who you know, and it's true. So it's best to put your best foot forward in whatever you're doing, whether you're in business now or not, because you never know where that first client's going to come from.
For referrals are so amazing because it is the least expensive way that you can market your business. And not only that, but it comes with a testimonial when someone says that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with actually asking your clients for referrals and putting it out there that you are taking on new business.
It's also the best compliment that anyone can give you, the fact that they're willing to put their name on the line to refer you to someone else. So it's great. Yeah.
It is a total win-win, and I don't think enough people actually really look at referrals. And I love this because my guy who's an accountant, he's like, if you send me a referral, I don't care if I have to work till midnight, I will take that referral because you stepped up the plate to give it to me. Now, he's also in his 70s. He doesn't need any more referrals. I think he really wants to tell us, quit referring me out. But I love that he's willing to take on all referrals because it's such a huge compliment coming from his clients is what he's told me. And I love that the way he looks at it on the business side.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump in. Now, I know that if as a small business owner to really be able to expand and grow and do the things that I really want to do in my business, I need to hire people to be able to do the things that I can start, taking off my plate. So before you hire somebody, are there anything that you should be laying down, like a structure, before you bring someone on?
Absolutely. Most people are under the wrong impression, that they should wait until after they've built their team to create policies, to create structure. And a lot of times what people don't understand is creating structure is actually creating the culture that you want to have in your business. And that starts with your first hire. And so it's best to have your policies. And I'm not saying you have to have an elaborate, 100-page manual or anything, but it's important to set the tone with the first employee, because once you get the first employee, it's going to be like a snowball and it's going to be rolling downhill and you're going to start picking up people. And once you have them in place, it's much harder to implement policies and to create a culture once you've already started. So it's so important. It really is.
Now, when we talk about policy, what are you referencing?
Everything from attendance to time off request to dress code. If your employees are going to be facing your clients, if they're going to be out in the public representing your business, you may not want to just say, just make good choices. You probably want to put a definition on what that is, because my good choice may not be your good choice or your client's good choice. And so it's important to set the tone for what you want your business to look like. Whether it's, of course you want to have anti-harassment policies, and you may be thinking, well, if I'm hiring one person, that's not really necessary. Yeah, it is, because that person could harass you or you could harass them. And if it's not defined and written out, this is the expectation, then it's basically a free-for-all. So, yeah.
All right, so you bring up some really great points because, I have to tell you, as I'm looking at outsourcing and hiring, these are things that just really don't pop up into my head immediately. Like, what are your expectations? Yeah, you say that it's flexible work, but should you be available between 9 and 5? Or, especially if you're not in the same time zone or whatnot. So, those are really good. So, is there anything that you've seen on policy that people have done that maybe wasn't? They're putting in the policy that maybe wasn't benefiting both the employee or the business?
Yes. What I've seen many, many times is a lot of employers, they write policies with a specific person in mind. And the problem with that is usually when you're doing this, you're singling someone out. Everyone's aware this person's a problem, that person's aware they're a problem, and you're basically singling someone out. Things like dress codes where you specifically name an article of clothing that someone has worn. Um, or if you're having attendance issues with someone and you're making it so specific to where there's no flexibility for anyone in your organization. Those are problems. You want to set expectations with policies, but you also want to keep in mind that you're dealing with humans. And so it's important to be somewhat flexible, but also have it defined. So there's a fine line there. And I see that happen a lot where people don't want to have a fine line. They want to either go hard nosed or they want to make it so flexible. It's like, why do you have a policy? Because it doesn't exist.
Okay, so rule number one, don't be passive aggressive when putting your policy together.
Yes. Yes, don't be passive aggressive and no singling out. None. Yes. It's tempting because for every policy, and I say this all the time, for every policy, there's a person that made it necessary for everyone. Yeah.
All right, so don't be passive aggressive and also put your policies on something that you actually would be happy with as an employee, not just the owner.
Exactly, because a lot of people forget when they hire, employment is a partnership. It is a partnership between that employer and the employee, and it should benefit both sides. A lot of people think, well, I'm the employer, I'm giving them an opportunity, so they owe me. Well, technically, they're helping you build your business, so you want to create an environment and a culture that encourages them to want to one work as hard as they can for you, but also they want to come to work, they want to abide by the policies because they know you're not trying to control them, you're trying to manage your business. There's a big difference between the two.
I love that. I love that you laid all of that out and made it very simplified and easy. Because I think that I know I worked in these corporate environments where there was very little flexibility. And I personally started my business for two things: freedom and flexibility. And I want to be able to give my employees that option as well. As long as you're able to complete the work and do the work, I also want you to be able to enjoy life.
Right.
Can you share 3 common mistakes that business owners are making as they're hiring people?
I would say the first would be refusing to create an employee handbook. And the one reason I've heard over and over again about why people don't want a handbook, it's they don't want to be locked into anything. And as much as, a lot of people hate rules and they hate defining things, an employee handbook will protect you, will protect your business, and it protects your employees because you can't have expectations if they're not in writing. It doesn't matter what conversation you had during the interview. It doesn't matter what conversation you had when someone was late. If there is not a handbook, if there is not a policy written, it didn't happen. And it may not affect you today, but one day you're going to have either the Department of Labor or the EEOC come to you. And if you don't have defined policies, then you're going to have a problem. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is having unrealistic expectations. If you are a company and you are a team of 5, and when you're a small company, everyone wears multiple hats, people do multiple things. and you're a small company, but you have no flexibility, that's a problem. You have to keep in mind people have lives, people have other things going on other than working for your business. So your policies can't be so tight and so rigid that people can't have a life. So that's the second thing. Third thing I would say is not equally enforcing your policies. You may have hired your sister, your cousin, your friend, and then 3 other random people. And your sister doesn't really come into work on time, and one of the other random people doesn't come to work on time. Well, they both have to be equally disciplined according to your policy. You can't look the other way from one employee because of your personal relationships or because of favoritism that we all have, but it is what it is. You can't look the other way and not equally enforce policies, because your policy is only as strong as the enforcement. And if you're not doing it equally, you're going to get in trouble.
Okay, so let's reiterate that. The first one is having a handbook in place for your employees to protect both you as a business owner and your employee. And then the second one is not having unrealistic expectations, which I pretty much go around life with expectations that are unrealistic. So that's going to be challenging for most people. And then also equally enforcing. And I think the bigger thing here too is just don't hire your family or friends. Like, do yourself a favor.
I frown upon people hiring family, friends. I've been in awkward situations where I've actually had to terminate family members for clients because it goes so far off the rails, and then they don't feel strong enough to get rid of a family member or friend. And so I've been brought in to do that. So, it's just awkward. It usually ends badly. Just don't do it. Yeah.
And I'm sure that if someone hires you and you come in and put these great policies together, and then you do hire family and friends, if this is a business that's going to be some sort of legacy or family legacy, that there are ways that you can work together. But I can't imagine being in this position where I'm having to fire my sister and here she can't put food on the table for her children. I mean, that's just a really, really bad, and here's my parents calling me. I mean, it's just not the situation that I want to be in with my business. But I know that it does work in some families. Okay, so the next thing that I've noticed is job descriptions, because I'll be in these Facebook groups and someone's like, I'm looking for an accountant, or I'm looking for a project manager. But what exactly does that mean? Because if I'm looking for, someone to hire on, they're going to need specific skill sets. So can you give some tips on how to create impactful job descriptions, exactly what you need so that you're filtering people that will benefit and would be a good fit for your company?
The first thing I would say about position descriptions is it is of the utmost importance that you know exactly what you're looking for. Because a lot of times when people have vague position descriptions, it's because they're not 100% clear on what they want. You need to be clear on the duration of the project, on, whether they're going to be supervising people. If so, how many? What type of skill set is necessary? What type of personality is necessary to handle whatever you're going to throw at them in that position? It's important that you take the time to create a well-defined position description, because if you don't, you're going to, when you post it, for one, you're going to be inundated with so many applicants, you won't know what to do. You won't be able to weed out, the correct applicant. But more importantly, if it's too vague, the right applicant may not apply because they may not think, oh, this falls in alignment with what I'm looking for. Or if they're doing an online search, it may not match up to their resume, to their skill set. It's really important to be as detailed and as clear as possible. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'll just put a generic, position description they find online or somewhere, or they'll, say, oh, well, as long as they have a degree, we can work it out. No, because there are different types of degrees, different types of experience. That's not always going to get you there. Make sure that you're clear about the benefits of the position, because having the position description, duties, task assigned, supervisory role is important, but your benefits are important too, because high quality candidates, even if you're not a large corporation offering a mega benefits package, flexible time, flexible time off, or, flexible scheduling, working from home, those type things will attract quality candidates. Some not quality candidates too, but those high quality candidates that they're looking for more of a work-life balance and aren't so much consumed with, a higher salary if you're a smaller company, things like that, that it's going to attract them. So make sure you're selling your position to candidates. It's not just a matter of posting a position and they're going to jump on board and want to work for you. You're selling your company. Just remember that.
I also think that you should put a salary range in the post, and that way you're not getting people that are expecting $30,000 or $40,000 more. You're able to weed out candidates that are respectively within that price range. What are your thoughts on that?
That is very important. And, like you said, it's because you may have an applicant that has years of experience and they're expecting, $20,000 more than what you're able to offer. And they may go through this whole interview process, whether you're doing a phone screening and then your face-to-face interview. And, you're wasting their time and they're wasting yours because you're not going to meet in the middle. Likewise, there are some people who, may be in your range of salary that you may never expect. It may be someone with decades of experience who may have retired, who just wants to get back out there and just, use their skills. And your position may be attractive to them. So just be open, but be honest also. Never start with, 20,000 and up. Don't do that. Definitely give a range, because if you're too vague, again, you're going to miss those high quality applicants because they're going to say, no, this isn't for me.
Okay, so now that we have our handbook in place, we have our unrealistic expectations like tamed in, we are going to equally enforce everything. We have this great job description. Can you give us some interview questions? So I know that there are some common interview questions that people are asking, but it's really not digging down to the core. So can you shed some light on some questions that would be phenomenal and the things that you should be asking?
I know we all ask what is your greatest weakness or greatest strength question? And basically anyone who's been on an interview ever in life has rehearsed this question in their head and they know how to answer it. Because no one is going to truly give you, let me backtrack. Some will give you a real weakness, but the majority will not. They'll give you something that's truly a strength that they're working on to make themselves appear better. So one of my favorite questions to ask is, what is a time that you have failed? And I ask that question, and then the follow-up question to that is, and how did you recover from it? The only wrong answer to that question is I have never failed. I can't think of one. It's and I hate to say it this way, but it's like a trap, because if someone says to you, I can't think of one, or no, I've never failed, that means either they don't try or they don't take responsibility for their shortcomings or their failures, or they're completely oblivious, or they're a liar. It's one of those. There's not a person walking around who's never failed. Whether it's in your personal life or professional life, something has gone wrong somewhere. And then the second part to that is, if they can't tell you how they recovered, or if they are playing the blame game, you again get to see their character. You get to see whether or not they take personal responsibility. You get to see, is this person resilient? Do they rebound when something goes wrong? You see a lot about a person from that question. That is my all-time favorite.
Okay, so I think that you should ask that question to everybody in life, like from you're going to be dating to hiring employees, because that's really brilliant. Because as a small business owner, I need someone to step up to the plate And if they make a mistake, own it and be able to problem solve and try to fix it instead of blaming it on anybody else or just acting like it just didn't happen, because
Right.
we are accountable to our clients, not necessarily that person, but us as the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you have any other questions?
Say, how you get what are your plans in 5 years? And I hate that question because I'm thinking, well, if someone asked me that question, I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing today, maybe the rest of this week, but 5 years, that's a bit much, especially when in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going to be here in 5 years. Is that what you want me to tell you? Because let's just be real. Do you really want an employee who wants to stay in the exact same role and do the exact same thing for an indefinite amount of time? You don't. You want someone who's going to grow, who's going to have fresh ideas, fresh perspectives, and who wants to help you grow your business. Because if they're helping you grow your business, they're growing with your business. So you got to keep that in mind. I prefer the question, what do you see your role evolving into with my company? You ask that question because you want to see if they have a long-term vision for your company and how they can help you get there. You want to make sure that when you're hiring someone, when you're investing time in onboarding them and training them, getting their skills up to snuff, you want to make sure that this person isn't just looking for a job. You want someone who wants to grow with you. It's okay if you go to a large corporation and you just want a job, because really with a large corporation, you're just a number. But with a small business and a launching business or a startup, you want to make sure someone is invested in your purpose, in your vision, and wanting to help you grow. So that's why that question is important.
You said that quite beautifully, and I love that. I think you're absolutely right. And hiring people that are going to get you to that next level is so incredibly important. And what I don't think that a lot of people realize, especially if you didn't come from a corporate background, is that it's $20,000 or $30,000 to hire someone and get them trained, because it takes about 90 days to get them into that full force speed. And in the entrepreneurial world, time is money. So if you are not working on billable hours or billable projects, you're actually losing money at that point. So it's so important that you get that hire at the very beginning instead of, after 6 or 7 months going, okay, I felt like that gut feeling was there when I first hired them. They weren't going to be a good hire. And here we are 6 months later, and now I'm going to have to start all over from the beginning. It's not worth it.
Right.
All right, so this was unbelievably great, and I know that whoever is watching this right now is going to find such benefit and value out of this. Jame, this has been unbelievable and valuable, and I know anyone watching this right now is going to find this so helpful. So who is your ideal client? Can someone hire you to come on and help them with policy and hiring?
Yes. I actually work with clients who either are about to make their first hire up to 49 employees. And so I am available to work with individuals who are, about to launch that business to people who are already having challenges. Everything from helping them to create their initial structure to coming in and solving challenges. And creating opportunities for growth and change. That's what I do. And so any small business owner who needs assistance, I'm glad to give them an evaluation of their current team, of their current structure, and help them to devise a plan to go forward.
And you and I talked about this. It's less expensive to hire a consultant to come in and help you lay that policy down than maybe getting sued 2 or 3 years down the road, or just having, issues with your hiring and firing, and retention is really low with employees. So, I will definitely put all of your information in the description so that people can find you and reach out to you. And I know that you're offering anyone who is listening the 10 must-have interview questions.
That is a resource that a lot of my clients have found useful. I think it's a tool, just a list of questions, and the list includes not just the question, but why the question is important, so you understand the background behind asking it. It's for me, of course, I think it's great because I created it, but it's a great resource to help you along your interview process, which I know can be a little challenging sometimes. And especially when you start out, it can be a little awkward, but hopefully it'll make it easier for you.
Perfect. And then you also are a TEDx speaker. And we didn't talk about that in the very beginning, but I want to hit on that. You did a TEDx talk, and you also offer people a free ebook. Can you elaborate on that?
I am a TEDx speaker, and my talk was on removing the mask or the shame of bipolar disorder. And so my book is also based on my TEDx talk. And so it was a wonderful experience, terrifying speaking in front of 1,300 people, but I did it and it was amazing. And yeah, so if anyone will be interested in watching the talk, I'm sure you'll have a link for that. And the book is also available.
Awesome. We think very highly of TEDx speakers around this office. So I am excited that you are able to be here, but I'm more excited that you were able to come in and shed some light on creating some HR policies, because it's detrimental that we hire people to be able to grow. And I talk to my clients all the time. I'm like, you're starting small, but you can create this huge company, this legacy. And, I'm a big fan of Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx. And, she started from her living room and was mailing, selling copiers and putting together orders. And, this is a multi-billion-dollar company that she owns today. And so that you and I and everyone else here has the ability to create this big, huge company, but that does take extra people helping us to get to that level of success.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us, Jame. I appreciate it.
That's it for this week's Wednesday wrap up. If you love this video, please leave us a comment and let us know what you're going to be changing or even implementing for your own policies. All right, so that's it. I will see you guys next Wednesday.